Today I want to tell you guys about an awesome new upgrade that we've been working on here for quite a while here at Infotainment.com for the 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK. Basically what we designed is an upgrade for you guys to go from the Uconnect 2 to the Uconnect 5 system. Now what does that mean? That means a lot of you, or most of you, that have a 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler will have one or the other radio. This is the RES radio or the RBZ or RHB radio. This is the Uconnect 2 version. Now, what we designed is the Uconnect 5 version, which is found on the refreshed 2024 and newer Jeep Wrangler JL and Jeep Gladiator JT. We are taking that technology and we are retrofitting it back to you JK owners. This uses all factory 100% Mopar parts to bring into your Jeep. So you're using factory original parts. You're not using aftermarket parts. It consists of a Uconnect 5 radio module, a 10.1-inch display, fully plug and play wiring. We have a Genie Max module partnered with obdgenie.com. So as you can see, not a lot of parts involved. Super easy install. We're going to show you how to do that today. Another thing that I wanted to mention, it is fully plug and play with your existing Jeep Wrangler JK. So if you have factory satellite radio, if you have Bluetooth Uconnect, if you installed a backup camera, all of that is fully plug and play with our kit. If you would like to add a plug and play backup camera, we carry that. We also carry factory Mopar satellite radio antennas, and with the kit, whether you have Uconnect Bluetooth or not, you will get it. So a lot of great features, easy to install. We're going to show you how to do that now.
All right, so where you're going to want to start is right at the top of your dash, and your little cubby up here, you have a single 7mm screw going straight down. Some of you guys will have a Phillips screw in here. Either way, you're going to need to pull this one. All right, next up, what you need to do is pull your window switches. There's a hidden 7mm screw right behind here. So we're gonna grab our panel tool, and it actually shouldn't take much. Once this pops free, on the back side, you have a little security red tab, little lock. You can pull that up, and then you can press the switch down and pull your controls out. Try not to lose that little red tab there. And there, you can see that 7mm screw that was hidden. All right, next up, you're gonna wanna go right below your steering column. You have this cover here that pops straight off. It kind of hinges at the bottom. You can just set that aside. You have two hidden 7mm screws. There's one here and one on the other side. We'll start with this guy and the one on the other side. All right, now we're ready to pull our dash off. Basically, you want to bring your steering wheel all the way down. That'll make life a lot easier. But this whole dash bezel is just held in with some clips. And we can pull that up and out of the way. We'll set this aside. All right, now with our dash bezel completely removed, we have access to the 4 screws. These are also 7mm that are holding our radio on. Go ahead and pull those out. Right, and now we can slide our radio to the rear and get this unplugged. All right, with your radio completely removed, what we need to do is check if we have Bluetooth. Now, if you have Bluetooth or a Bluetooth module, you have a couple options here. One, I'll show you. If you pop this panel off right below your radio, this just pulls out. I'll get this unplugged so you can see what I'm doing. And what we're looking for is a module like this. If you have this module, this is where your Bluetooth is controlled. You can see the little symbol right there. You have some options on how to connect your microphone. We have included all available options to you for the microphone to either use the Mopar original microphone, the universal one that can stick onto your dash, or the replacement microphone, which will swap out the original microphone for. So if you do have this module, I'll show you what you need to do, which is basically pull it out. You have a 7mm up top left and another one on the bottom right down here. So with this module pulled, you can actually remove the whole thing. Your new radio will have Bluetooth all built in, so you don't need this module anymore. But you will need the connector from this module. Let me go ahead and grab all of our harnesses and I'll show you how to get this whole new UBN hooked up into your Jeep. All right, so let me go over a couple of the options that you have with integrating the Bluetooth microphone. So what we include with your kit are 2 microphones. You have an original replacement microphone. This is if you have Bluetooth and the mic that's located in your A-pillar, this will replace that. Or if you don't have Bluetooth, we gave you the optional Mopar universal microphone that can be mounted anywhere. Or if you do have Bluetooth and you don't want to deal with swapping the microphone out in your A-pillar, you could use this for all case scenarios. If you want to integrate, this is where we have a couple options. So some radios have Bluetooth built in and some have Bluetooth built into the module that I just removed. So if you have Bluetooth in this module or attached to this module, if you have this module at all, the harness that's going to this module will need to plug into this harness that we've included, and you would use this microphone, and the rest of this you can forget about. Now, if you don't have this module, the center plug on the back of your radio, which is this small connection right here, if you pull your radio out and you have this connection, and then you pop this panel down here out and you don't have this module, then you're going to use this connector here. And this would plug in right here, and this side will go to the harness, that main harness that we're going to install in a second. But because our application does have the module that's located down there, we're actually going to run this wire up from this lower plug down here. We're going to get this plugged in, run it up to our main harness, which I'll plug in right after this one. And after I get everything installed, I'm going to install this microphone last. I'm going to show you how to do that. But like I said, if you want to avoid any kind of installation where you're taking that A-pillar apart, you could just opt for this microphone here and plug this into the main radio harness when we get up there. So you do have a couple options. Basically, if you have this module, you have to use this plug. If you don't have this module, you have to use this plug. Those are the 2 options for integration. If you don't have any Bluetooth in your vehicle at all, then you are going to be forced to add the universal mic, and you can put this anywhere you'd like. We always recommend going somewhere away from wind, so you may want to put this maybe on top of your steering column or just somewhere central located, just so it's away from a window. A lot of you Jeep guys will roll with no doors or the windows down, and this can get some feedback, so you want to just keep that away from the windy areas. All right, let's get into the install. We'll start with this harness here. Plug that in down there, and we'll run this up to the radio cavity. And you do have this metal bracket, kind of metal edged frame that's back here. What I'm going to do is go around it from the underside, because I don't want to pinch this wire in between anything, so I'll just have this coming up from the bottom. The slack we can go ahead and pull out and then zip tie or put a twist tie on it so we don't have way too much wire hanging out. All right, I'll set that aside for now. I'll grab the main harness and we'll get that all plugged in. Okay, so we have our main harness here. We can go ahead and plug the main connector in. The original one that was plugged into the radio. And here's that connector that we ran from the Bluetooth module down below. We'll get this thing lined up and plugged in. Now, our Jeep did not come with a factory rear camera. A lot of you guys are gonna have an aftermarket rear camera, and you will have this plug here to accommodate for that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the aftermarket camera with that factory integration plug. I'm gonna pull that whole thing off. We don't need to use that anymore. The harness that we include in your upgrade does have an RCA on there, so you can just utilize the new harness and disregard that whole old section. That'll get your backup camera fed into the radio. The remaining connectors right here will go to your screen, and these two will go to the radio module. So we'll get to that in a second. All of this stuff back here, I'm gonna go ahead and zip tie so I don't have a bunch of excess harness back here. All right, with it just the way it is, now we're ready to assemble our screen onto the original factory dash bezel, and we can assemble our radio module and the radio bracket that's gonna accommodate this vehicle. All right, so there actually is one more connection that we have to make, and that is the one going to our Genie programming module. This is going to be the interface box that makes this upgrade work for the Jeep JK. So that is going to be this longer connection on your main harness, this white 6-pin plug right here. So once this is all installed in your dash, there isn't a whole lot of room. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually cut my little tie off of here, and I'm going to run this 6-pin white connection, which is actually labeled, it says for the integration module. I'm going to run it in the same direction, going all the way back down where your Bluetooth module was. Or if you don't have one, then you wouldn't have one down here, but you'd have this space. And what you can either do is zip tie this down here, but because we had a Bluetooth module, I'm actually going to reuse the screw. I'm going to screw this in right here, and our module will live right down here. Let me get that wire ran down to it. We'll take that same route right behind that bracket. And we'll get that plugged in right there. There we go. Now we can go ahead and assemble our screen onto the original dash bezel, and then we'll move forward with the installation from there. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our radio module. It's on the bracket that will adapt this to our Jeep JK dash, but we do need a few adapters here. So we're gonna install blue to blue on the radio module itself and white to white. The white connector is for AM and FM, and that'll go to this white plug here. The blue side is GPS, and if your vehicle comes with GPS, you will have this curry colored connector. If you do not, you're gonna have to install the universal GPS antenna onto your Jeep. But our Jeep came equipped with it, so we were lucky. We don't have to install anything extra. We will also install our LVDS cable. This is going to go straight to our screen. So actually I'll install that onto the radio module. The other end I'll stick through this hole here, and I'll take care of the slack once we get everything kind of organized and mounted into the dash. Then we also have a USB extension and adapter. Basically, this will plug into that brownish colored USB connection down here. And the other end, we are just gonna route over to our glove box. So what I'm gonna do is just feed this down on the side of the AC vent. I'll open the glove box. You can remove it to make things easier, but you can see my fingers do have access to that cavity. So all you have to do is get that kind of close, and it's really a close distance to that glove box. But once you have it, you can pull it through. Not a ton of slack. If you don't need to use it, just coil that up and leave that in your glove box, or you can stick your USB thumbsticks if you got music and what have you on there. And now we have a couple more connections that is going to be routed to our screen. This smaller white connection here is for our new volume knob. This gray plug here is going to give our screen power. We'll get those all through that opening right above our radio module. And now we can simply connect all of the plugs that are not connected. So green will go to green, blue to blue, and we'll get these antennas plugged in to their extensions. Just like that. And like that there. Now we're ready to feed this whole module into the opening here. And once you get this all in there, you'll notice there isn't a ton of room. So we basically maxed out all the free space that you have in this compartment here. All right, and this is the end product. You want it to look just like that. We'll go ahead and put the 4 7mm back in to secure it. All right, now we'll head to the bench and assemble our screen and radio bezel. Okay, so we're here on our bench and we have the dash. As you can see, I have it aiming face down and protected with some foam. If you put it the other way, these little tabs right here are very fragile and you could put some weight on this that'll damage these little tabs. So I like to have it face down and just with some cushion on there so I don't scratch up the dash. But basically what you're gonna get in your kit is the screen, an adapter bracket, and some screws. And this will come completely assembled. This is a volume board that we need to plug in once we get it in the vehicle. But what I'm going to do with the volume aiming towards the opening down here, this is the bottom of the screen. We'll stick this down here. As you can see, that kind of fits in that hole. Then we'll get our adapter plate. And this will only go in one way. So you have some recessed holes here. This is the side that is going to be aiming at you when you're assembling this. It won't fit the other way, as you can see, because it is notched out to accommodate the connectors that we have to connect. And with those recessed screw holes aiming at you, that gives you room for the screws to sink down into. So we're just going to kind of support this with one hand, and I'll line the screws up as best I can, and we'll get these screwed in. And because these are just going into plastic, you want to be extremely careful if you're using power tools, or I would just advise using hand tools here, just so you can feel how tight you're tightening this and you avoid stripping it out, over tightening them. All right, but once those screws are in, as you can see, this is what your new infotainment system will look like. Now we're ready to jump in the vehicle, get this all connected, and we can proceed with the reinstallation of our radio bezel. All right, so we have our dash bezel here, and you can see we have all the connections that we need to make on the screen. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get all three of these plugged in. This little white guy has the clip right on top. So if you're looking at it like I am, that clip is going to be aiming at you, and you're just going to kind of line that up, and that should drop in there pretty easily. And then you have that main gray connector will also go in there pretty easy. Now what I'm going to do with this slack is I don't need it to be this long, so I'm going to throw some zip ties on here. That's basically enough distance that I need. So the rest of this, I'm gonna coil up, throw a zip tie on, and I'll leave this just kind of hovering above our radio module. All right, so in one single blow, I'm gonna feed this up here and kind of rotate that dash bezel into place. Make sure that stays off to the side. Keep in mind, right in the center, right here, you do have that one screw coming down, so you don't want to put any wires right on top of here. Just want to make sure they're off to the side a little bit. I'll spin this up over our steering wheel. You can kind of work that slack back in there, but the tolerances aren't very tight back there, so you do have quite a bit of room that you can work around. All right, so before I go ahead and fully seat the dash back into place, we do have to pop this lower climate bezel back on. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of gap in here. We'll get all these plugs connected, and we'll get this snapped back into place. All right, now we'll get this in here. We'll just lift that up a little bit. This will snap right in. All right, now we can go ahead and snap our dash back on. And when you're snapping this back on, you're gonna wanna make sure the 7mm screw that goes on the right side of your steering column is kind of seated into place. You'll see it, you'll know. If it's not seating right, it'll have distance in between there. When it's seating right, it'll be right up against the rest of the dash. It'll be real nice and flush. All right, let's go ahead and reinstall our 7mm screws. We're gonna start with the one that is behind our window controls. And once you have that 7mm back in, we can go ahead and clip our window switches back on. Make sure to lock that lock back down, that little locking tab. Snap that into place. All right, we'll get that single 7mm that's up top. Then we have this single 7mm right up top here. All right, we'll get these two put back in. All right, and then lastly, we'll swing this panel back into place. Now all we have to do is swap out our original microphone for the one included in the kit, and we can test our upgrade out. All right, so right here is the factory microphone. This is located right on the top of your A-pillar, right to the left of the sun visor. In order to access this, what I'm gonna do is pull the sun visor out, which is 2 T20 Torx screws holding the base of it on. So let's go ahead and pull that out now. With that out, what we have to do is snap off the other end, and we have our sun visor free. All right, next is a plastic retainer right here on this lower opening down here, and it is a Phillips screw, but because it's just a plastic retainer, it's actually not really threaded into anything, so you can just back this out a little bit, and once it's out a little bit, you should be able to kind of pull on the panel to pop that free. If it doesn't pop free very easily, you can back it out a little bit more until it does. There we go. And that'll pop right out. So you can see it's one of those plastic retainers that just kind of threads into itself. And now the only thing that's holding this on is a large Christmas tree type pop that's right in the center. We're now free to pull this out. And this is basically what we need. From here, we can go ahead and get the components swapped out. This should push right through here, just like that. And now we can swap the internals out for the one that was included in your kit. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so here we have our original microphone that we just pulled off. We have the replacement microphone and the adapter harness that we include. So what I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna get this plugged in, just like that. And now we have to swap both of these mics into this outer casing so it'll fit just like it did from the factory. So I'm gonna start with the one that came off of the vehicle, and there's multiple ways that you can do this, but on either side you can see those 4 tab locations. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to feed my panel tool in between there, and just using pressure, just pop that up and open just like that. Once it starts a little bit, it should just pop free the rest of the way pretty easily, but getting it started might be the hardest part for you. So be patient. This is the important part. You just want to keep this in pristine condition, and the other end of that original microphone will slide right out of there, and this is all we need right here is the case. So we're going to get the replacement microphone, and we have to take this case off in the same way. So for this case, there's actually some clips on the front and the back, or the sides rather, just like the other one. So you can use your fingernails. Actually, it doesn't take too much. I'm gonna pull up and away on this wire while trying to split this case open with my fingers. Let's see. Yep, that comes out pretty easy, just like that. So it's not a whole lot that's keeping that in place, but once you have it removed, this is what you're gonna slide into the original casing. So the side that you want down, or out rather, where the holes are, is the side with the foam on it. May be kind of hard to see, but in the center there is an opening for that mic to hear your voice. So we'll get that kind of placed in there. We'll start on the other side, because this is the smaller side. Get this kind of placed in here. It should fit pretty perfectly. And then we can snap the 2 sides together, sandwiching that microphone inside of there. All right, and that's all it is. Now we can go ahead and reinstall that little A-pillar part with the new mic installed, just like we did when we removed it. All right, so we're simply gonna feed the wire in there and push that whole thing through and snap it in place. And nobody will be the wiser. It looks like it came that way from the factory. And the other end will get plugged in. And the excess of this wire, there's a little bit of slack on here. I'll just kind of tuck that away. There we go. And then this will push right back into place. Make it just like that. All right, now we can put that little plastic retaining clip back in and the two T20 torque screws with our sun visor, and we'll be nice and wrapped up.
All right, now that Chris has this all installed and buttoned up, let's turn it on and take a look. You notice the Jeep touchscreen logo? This is a 100% factory OEM Jeep part through Mopar. So this is the Uconnect 5 system found in the late model JLs. Right here in the 2007 through 2018 JK vehicles. What an awesome system. Right away you notice the nice big 10-inch crystal clear touchscreen display here. You can get started here whenever you can be welcomed as driver one. In this main page here in the home section, there's a bunch of widgets. You can customize these, set them anywhere you'd like. If you go to the media button here, it'll show you your frequently used media. If you go to sources here, we'll give you some other options as well. But you'll notice here, we do have HD radio and your local radio station here. You can also come in here and adjust your audio settings by pressing that key down there, that soft key. The GPS navigation on this system is phenomenal. Privy to the Uconnect 5 system, you do get 2D and 3D maps. The search functionality is one of the best out there. All the search features through there. Obviously, you notice it immediately connected to my smartphone. There's no more wires, no more USB connections. It's wireless, so as soon as you start your vehicle, it will pair to your phone. So you'll be able to access all of your apps, whether you have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, right here at your fingertips with no cords. It is just amazing, this technology here with the Uconnect 5 system. Within the vehicle apps here, you can come in here and adjust some of your settings, whether you want your display to be manually controlled, auto-controlled, the daytime brightness, you can adjust your theme, whether you like it light or dark, so on and so forth. Pairing a new phone through the vehicle. The app section will give you the ability to drag and drop those down to your home row for a little bit more customization. You will retain all of your factory features from your JK. So those of you who have Uconnect will retain that using this system. If you would like to add Uconnect, you will get it when you upgrade this system. Your steering wheel controls, whether it's your volume, your phone button, it will all work completely plug and play. Now this here is SiriusXM satellite radio. Everyone gets SiriusXM satellite radio. If you have an antenna already installed in your vehicle, you can utilize it. If you'd like to add an antenna, we can help you out. But this is the SiriusXM 360 package. You will get access to all of your SiriusXM channels with album art, over 300 channels depending on what subscription you choose. But you get that all through the touchscreen here. All right, now those of you who have a backup rear camera that you installed perhaps with an older system, you can retain it with our system. So it'll show you right here on the nice 10-inch display. The field of view is incredible. And the lighting and the color is great too. Just a great safety feature now with the larger display. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that upgrade just as much as we enjoyed developing it. We were here established in 2008, and we've been helping over 100,000 customers do upgrades to their vehicle. So we carry this upgrade and so much more on our website, Infotainment.com. We service what we sell. We have a whole staff that services parts all day long. We also have in-house advisors that can advise you and help you from start to finish. We also have a compatibility guarantee. As I mentioned in the video, we will get your 17-digit VIN number to ensure that everything is programmed to the modules for a seamless installation in your exact vehicle. We also have extended warranties for those of you who would like to take advantage of that. Those of you who pulled out your old gear and you don't want it just to sit in your garage forever, we actually offer trade-in value to your old gear. So be sure to go to our website for more information on that. Last but not least, if you have a request for your vehicle, you want a factory OEM upgrade for your vehicle and you don't see it on our website, we have a product request form that our research and development department looks at every single day. So request that product and we'll get back with you with a possible solution. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and have a great day.